Well, it's mid-December. I'm out here trying to fill my extra doe tag before the season ends here in just a few days. It's just a few degrees above zero. It's actually a lot warmer today than it was yesterday. We had a cloud cover move in, so it warmed up quite a bit, but it's still cold. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how to stay warm and comfortable during the late season. Hi, this is Clay Hayes with TwistedStave.com and Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, coming to you from north central Idaho and bringing you another episode of Backcountry College. You know, people that aren't from areas that have really cold weather just assume that, when it gets really cold, it must be miserable to be out in it. And it can be if you're not dressed for it. But if you're dressed for it, it's really not that bad. It's not that bad at all. I'm a real advocate for wool. I've got on several different layers here. What I've started with is peeling back here. So next to my skin, I've got a merino wool base layer, and I've got that top and bottom. I love wool. There's a lot of great synthetics out there, but for me, one of the real reasons that I like wool is, first of all, it's warm against your skin. It dissipates moisture, but you can wear this I've worn this thing for like a week before without it leaving my skin, and you can't smell it. It doesn't retain body odor like synthetics will. What you don't want next to your skin is cotton. Cotton is bad news. If you start working hard and you start sweating a little bit, cotton will take that moisture and just hold it. It doesn't dry out, and it holds it next to your skin, and when you start to cool off, that's going to chill you. Over the top of this wool base layer, I've got a fleece pullover, and when it's really cold, I usually pack with me a down vest. Down is great insulation, but when it's wet, it's pretty much worthless, so you need to keep this dry. The great thing about down is it's extremely lightweight, so I can take this thing and it just weighs a few ounces. It packs down really small. I stick it in my pack. I have it with me all the time. Over the top of that, I've got, right now, since it's so cold, it's really dry, so I've just got my Carhartt as a shell. If it was a little bit warmer and I was in wet snow, I would have a waterproof shell on. A wool coat is really good, but the downside of wool is it's very expensive, so I'm having to make do with what I got. Your hat is very important. You lose a lot of heat out of your head. I've just got a wool stocking cap. A lot of times I've got a Filson waterfowling hat that I really like, and when it's a little bit wetter, I'll wear that a lot of times. But I like a beanie cap, just because you can pull it way down over your ears and cover the back of your neck. So down bottom, I've just got my wool socks, a little bit heavier merino base layer, and then some heavy wool pants. I really like wool for pants because when they come in contact with vegetation, these things are about as quiet as it gets. Sometimes I'll wear 2 layers of socks, but when you do that, you got to make sure you have enough room in your boots, because if you put on 2 thick layers of socks, put your boots on, and it is constricting, it's tight, your feet are going to be a whole lot colder than if you just have 1 pair and some room in your boots. What's happening is those 2 layers of socks are just constricting your blood flow, and that blood flow is what keeps you warm. And that applies to everything, your hat, your gloves, and pants and everything. For gloves, I've got just leatherwork gloves that I've got like a waterproof sealer on there, and then I've got liners inside of them. Leather gloves by themselves are worthless for insulation. They'll freeze your fingers. How many layers you've got on is really dependent on what you're doing. I do a lot of still hunting, sneaking real slow, stopping, waiting, sitting around. So I'm really not generating a whole lot of body heat. So oftentimes I'll have all my layers on. But the reason that you dress in layers like this is if you know, if you do have to work hard, if you have to walk back up a ridge and you're really going to be huffing and puffing, you can take some of these layers off and throw them in your pack. You don't want to sweat. You want to try to avoid that. So you want to take a couple of layers off before you start really getting warm. Just take a few layers off, you know, unzip the ones that you have, and kind of let some of that body heat out. You know, when the snow's really dry like this, it's really squeaky, and so it's nearly impossible to sneak up on anything. So when it's like this, I tend to do a lot of sitting around, and you really get chilled when you're sitting like that. One of the tricks that I do when I'm sitting still and I'm trying to be stealthy and not move a whole lot is use kind of isometric exercises. What I mean by that is just I take my abs and just flex them and hold it like that for a few seconds, and then just repeat that and flex all your muscles, you know, your legs and your arms, your core, your abs, everything. And that really, if you do that for 10-15 minutes, it really generates a lot of heat and helps to keep you warm. One of the things I do pretty often when it's really cold out is just build a little small fire and brew up a cup of tea. Doesn't take very long to get the water boiling, and it really helps to keep you warm. And besides, you know, when you're drinking, your icicles just fall into the tea, and it, you know, kind of replenishes the supply. So get out there and enjoy the late season, and stay safe while you're doing it. We'll see you next time.